Hello and welcome to Off Track, the Lockdown series. This evening I'm chatting to a driver who's never been too far away from controversy, Ryan Harrison. Ryan, thank you for doing this today. How are you guys? Are you in lockdown at the minute?
Yeah, we're locked down and not a lot of work to do, and two young kids and stuff. We're sort of staying pretty tight, and you got to play it pretty seriously. I mean, yeah, we've got some elderly people in the family as well. Do you know what I mean? They're not the best to help, so we haven't been able to see nans and grandmas and sort of thing. But we are taking it pretty seriously and staying tight.
Yeah, you've not got Larissa to get the clippers on your hair then yet, no?
What's that?
The clippers on your hair. When's that going to happen?
No, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to shave and I'm not going to cut my hair until this is all over with. So I could look pretty homeless.
Okay, brilliant. Right, so let's jump in. So if we go right back to the very beginning, your debut was at Cowdenbeath in 2007. Can you remember much about that night?
I remember everything about that night. I pestered my dad for weeks and weeks and weeks to race. And at the time, they were doing pretty decent start money. So I said to him, you know, I could go and just run his shell car and get a bit of extra start money and sort of help fund the trip because it's expensive to run a wagon up there. Persuading and forcing him, he said, if you're going to race it, you're going to race the tarmac car and he'll race the shell car. So we went to Northampton and we did 30 or 40 laps practicing stone go through the radiator, and we only went on a flatbed lorry with no spares and nothing. I didn't get many laps, and my dad was still dubious. He didn't want me to do it, and he said Cowdenbeath definitely not the track to go to. No. And I was pestering, and yeah, we went up there and we had a ball. To be fair, it was good.
Were you nervous? Because it's Cowdenbeath as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty nervous, but at the same token, I was so excited. It was just jump in and let's give it some and see where we go. And we was planning on just running as you know, with a cross on the back and just taking a bit of a gentle ride around. And went out there in the pre-meeting practice, and I think I was fourth fastest out of everybody. Dad just said straight away, "You ain't going off the back. Let's get on the front and get going." So did, and it was great for 14 laps. I was leading, I'm passing red tops and moving, no fear of the place. A lot of people respected it, and I was just young and dumb, you could say. And I clipped the wall, burst the right rear tyre, and next thing was I was in the fence and spinning around. And that's the first time I've ever been winded.
Right.
My dad always told me, if you're winded, just don't breathe. Well, sounds easy until you've got no air and you need to breathe. So I was laying there, shut my eyes and try not to breathe. And the next thing my dad was in the side of the cab saying, "You're all right, just wait and your breath will come back." And I almost thought, that's it, I'm not racing ever again. I don't want to do it. We had, I said, all right, let's put the car in and we're done. And then there was, can't remember exactly who was there, but Andy Smith and Wayman and sort of them people was helping me dad. They was rushing like mad to fix the car to get me back out in the consolation. Because it's like, my dad's always said, it's like if riding a horse, if you fall off it, you got to get back. So, yeah, so anyway, I went out in the consolation, finished 5th or 6th, and my dad decided to park it up for the night. He said it gets lively come the final sort of thing. So he said, go out and knock hill tomorrow and have a go. So yeah, knock hill. Was leading the heat and spun myself with about 3 laps to go. Then I managed to win the consolation. And then the final, I was leading that, and I was good quarter of a lap in the lead with about 3 laps to go and spun myself again. Somebody went in the gravel and put gravel on the track and looped myself, and just not watching and just a bit hot-headed, I looped it. But the one thing that always gets me for my first night of racing was when in that heat race, when I hit the wall, the pit gate come open and Jeff Nichols hit it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I'll never forget what Jeff said. He said, "I've hit some posts and some gates in my time, but I've never ever had one open." Something to me. One.
I do remember that. I do remember that. So, kind of a great start to your Formula One career. In 2007, you finished with Novice of the Year. Did that kind of exceed your expectations then, considering it was your first full season?
We never really set out to do anything because obviously there was my dad's cars. We hadn't got anything else. I hadn't got my own, and we just we had a little bit of a play at it, and there was no anything to just race and just see what we can come up with, and just went on quite quickly, really.
Yeah. So I guess following your debut season, you've always seemingly been at the top of the sport. You've won the European, National Series, and the Gold Cup in Holland. Which one of those titles kind of meant the most to you?
I think getting my first one, the European, that was you always want to do it, and I'm one to always put myself down and never sort of believed I could do it. And when I won it, it was a pretty good moment for all of us as a family and everything else. And then it starts driving you forward to, right, what else can we do and how else can we feel like this? So I knuckled down, and then we said, right, we'll go full commitment to the shootout, which we'd done the previous year and sort of just done a little bit of this and that and missed a couple of rounds. But the European, getting the first one was definitely the best.
Yeah. So the 2013 season, you won the European and the silver. So it's probably your best season, arguably. Since then, you've only won the Gold Cup. Do you feel you should have won more titles in that period of
time? Yes and no. I mean, we've got the equipment to do what's needed to be done. You get to the point that 2013 season really wore me down. Winning the Shootout, the Silver Roof was brilliant and great, but along with that comes a lot of stress, a lot of hard work. It's turning up on a weekend to watch a meeting from the crowd side of things is no sort of big drama. You do your week's work and you plan where you go on the weekend, and it's done. But to do the Silver Roof and the Shootout, you've got to have spares. You've got to keep your equipment, to the best you can. The gearboxes are in and out every week. The diffs were being checked, and it just never ended. And I was so worn out with it. At the end of it, it was like, yeah, we won it, but was it really worth it?
Yeah. At what cost? Yeah.
At the end of it, 100% definitely, I wouldn't change it. But you've got to be hungry for it, and you've got to want it. If you're going to win it, you've really got to want it.
Yeah. I think the Shootout as a series is probably one of the hardest to win, isn't it? Just because it's consistency week in, week out over a 10 meeting, and it is draining. I can see that. Yeah,
I mean, definitely that's probably the best thing as such I've won for. That's commitment. 10 meetings, even a heat. Normally, if you go to a Kings Lynn on a Saturday night, if you come 5th or 6th, you're happy enough to get in the final, then to try and get going. But you're going out and your heat's like a final, and if you don't make it through the heat, your consolation's more pressure than a final will ever be. That's like driving a world final, because you've got to get in it to get your points in the final. So it really does put a lot of stress on everything, and arguments between the team, or we're all rushing. We all want the same thing at the end of the day, and we did it. We've done it, and when we get ourselves ready this year, we were sort of gearing up and trying to push forward where we can put ourselves in a position to go again. But I won't go at anything unless I can do it 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So we've mentioned the titles that you've won. Your dad's won the world final. So who has the bragging rights in the garage?
Well, that's not really. It's not really a thing with us. I mean, obviously we're a pretty tight family, and my dad loves everything we do, and we want to get the gold. I think I've been second twice now, so we're getting close, and we will have it. We'll make it happen. some point, somehow. But yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of wings hanging up, and he's got a complete bloody car in the roof. So I think he's got all the rights for being a, what's a wing? We've got a car hanging there.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I right in thinking you did that for your dad's birthday, or is that right? Is in terms of you had it refurbished?
Yeah, I mean, found it and refurbed it. Spent a lot of time, done it over a lot of time. Refurbed it, so I got it all back up, bought an engine, everything, and then we hired Coventry Track. We put a private event on. There was some good characters there. There was a lot of people, and we had quite a lot of the previous world champions, and we had Andy Smith back in one of our cars running. We run just a little demonstration. It was a bit of a bummer really because it rained. It was quite miserable, and I've never seen so much dirt dragged off the track. Jeremy Eva and that put a lot of effort in for us, and they said they'd do whatever they could to make it run. We had a good family friend of ours. We had him come over from New Zealand, and he run a car, and yeah, it was a really good night. One that I'll never ever forget.
No, brilliant. Okay, moving on slightly. When I spoke to Tom Harris, he was of the view that his racing in America helped him in a race in the British Formula One stock car. Do you hold a similar sort of view? Because you obviously race sprint cars in America alongside stock cars.
Yeah, I think to a degree, it does help for the fact that you get in a stock car and it's like, Jesus, these things are slow. You can almost have a sandwich when you're going down the street and stuff like that. In a sprint car, you blink and it's over and done. You've messed your corner up. So concentration levels are a lot more, involved in a sprint car. So yeah, I believe so with that side of it. I mean, since we've been running the sprint car, that's why I haven't been racing a lot. We've been gearing up with everything over there. We started with nothing in America. And it was so difficult for us as you need a nut or a bolt. You literally had to drive to the nut and bolt shop and go and buy it because you hadn't got it. Where over here, everything we've got in the race shop is set up around stock cars you can get by, or you can, do the job properly. And yeah, the sprint car thing is so fast that, I think that side of it, you can go into a corner and you start thinking, well, what's my car doing, or how can I get better? And it does slow things down. But on the other thing, I come back from America, jumped in my tarmac car, went to Skegness, and coming off a corner, and you're pressing the throttle too much, and I was running in too fast because I'm thinking this is so slow. And I think first time I raced my stock car after the sprint car, I come in, I was like 11th in the heat. Well, I should have been top 5, but I was doing everything wrong.
So, sprint cars or stock cars, if you had to choose?
That is a real difficult one, especially with being brought up around stock cars. But sprint cars have been a dream, and we're making it happen, but we're nowhere near where we wanted to be. So, for now,
Okay. And in terms of the sprint cars in America, is that something you're going to keep building on year to try and improve and try and progress over there?
Yeah, I mean, we've just got to a sort of position where we've got a full operation and trailer kitted out with everything we need. And we was just planned to go in May. He was doing 7 nights in 10 days, and covering a lot of miles. And we was in a position to do it and run out the back of the trailer. Now that's sort of obviously not available to do. Frustrating, but we don't set with plans or goals. We just go from one trip to another, and one of them things, it can be very costly. So we don't plan certain things. We finish a trip, and 9 times out of 10, we're not even home, and we're looking at what we can do next. So yeah, we really enjoy it, and we've got a good bunch of guys that come with us and sponsors that get involved, and we all enjoy it, so that helps.
Okay. So we're kind of going sprint cars in that one, aren't we? For the time being, anyway. Yeah. We mentioned. Say what? Sorry.
Stock cars is always going to be there. Is sort of our thing, you know. If I did sprint cars for 3 years and whatever, and stock racing, stock cars, I could come back to stock cars and carry on. But yeah, at the minute, sprint cars is where we want to be.
Okay. Just going back to the beginning when we spoke about coming into Formula One, did you always want to come into Formula One, or did you think actually I'd like to go and race some other forms of motorsport?
Well, I've been brought up around, and there was no way I was looking any other way. To be fair, it was Formula One, and we raced our modifieds when I had to, so to speak. And I had a bit of time off because that was the sort of thing we looked at that we thought would be good to get into. But yeah, Formula One all the way.
Okay. I mentioned in the introduction that as a driver, you've never been far from controversy. I think that's fair to say. Do you think stock cars need more dramas and more characters to kind of encourage fans to come back week in, week out and watch the racing? And if so, how do we do that? Because it's a fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that needs to happen. You need people to leave a meeting if they've got. Some people are lucky and got half an hour ride home. Some people 3, 4, 5 hours drive. And you need them to get in a car with a bunch of people and talk about it all the way home. And then through the week, read about it and then think, we need to go and see what the outcome of this is going to be. Or, you know, it gets the job hyped up. If we all drove around, didn't really hit anybody or, you know, nothing to talk about, it'd soon become boring. You'd find something else. That's what I believe the sport's got really good for it, is you can make some driver can make a talking point there and then. It doesn't matter if you've got a white roof, a red roof, or you've got some flashing lights. If a white roof done a move on a superstar, they could be the talk of the town for, you know, a good week or so, which is really good.
So I was chatting to Ben Riley last week, and you two had a bit of a moment in 2017, Saturday night at Birmingham and then Northampton the following day. And I guess people would have gone to Northampton thinking, you know, will Ben get Ryan or vice versa? Or, you know, that it does get people coming back, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a good talking point and made him a bit of a hero, should we say, for a week or so or whatever. If he wants to play off it for a little bit longer, it is what it is. But, you know, we was sort of, it is what it is, and we was ready for more. And we had a bit of a chat. His dad called me and we spoke about a few things, and we put that to bed for now. He can concentrate on his racing and I can concentrate on mine. At the end of the day, I've still got titles to win, and that's where we want to be. So let's push on and move forward. Everyone can go out and cause a wreck fest every week, but you know, stock cars take enough time in the week just running a normal meeting with next to no damage. So, you know, we can spoon them into the back of the transporter, and week in, week out. I get a bit excited about things like that. My dad's always trying to calm me down, but you know, we are there to race. They're not bangers, but they can be if they need to be. That's really where it is.
Yeah, and I think, do you feel like being a superstar and classed as a hard driver, that you have a sort of, you need to do something for the fans on a weekly basis? Do you think you're there to entertain? So I guess, are you racing to win, or are you racing to entertain?
No, I mean, everything I do is with the racing side of things. Could be a little bit selfish, but I do it for myself. What I feel and what I want to get out of it, I'll put into it. So with what we've been doing with the sprint car job, I haven't been doing a lot of racing. Now we're getting our position over there where we're sort of ready. This is the first year where I've been ready with 2 cars at the start of the season, ready to go, and put a lot more into it, which is good, which is where I want to be. But you can't do everything. I mean, money's not endless, so we do what we can. Yes, is what it is.
Okay, so you got the two cars ready for 2020. So when you sort of sat down and thought about it, was there any particular titles you wanted to aim for? Was it I want to get the world this year or the national? Was there anything you like? This is what I'm doing this year.
No, I mean, all the time at the end of the day. That's the other good thing about the sport is, you're privileged to run a roof colour, a wing, whether it's got stripes or flashes or whatever. So you can, you know, you enjoy ringing your signwriter saying, can you put me some silver on my wing or this or that, the other. So no, every title is where we want to be. Is try and do what we can. And for me now, is just chipping away at the list. I want the ones I haven't won, but I'd certainly happily go two times on anything. So,
Okay, brilliant. You're a renowned car builder, and your cars are quite different to whatever else is out there. So where do you get your inspiration from, and do you want to do something different every time you build a car?
it's a funny one, really. A lot of it is pen and paper. Just when you're having a bad night's sleep, there's something to think about what you can do next. Or I always try and keep my cars different to the rest. I can stand out in my driving style, let alone building a car. So we put a lot of time and effort in, and we've got some pretty nice machines and stuff we use to make them, and we're quite fortunate like that. So we can do things different quite easily. But every time I want to do it different, but you get to the point where you can put so much time into your own car. If you've got to replicate it for a customer, you can't justify what it'd cost.
Yeah.
So that's always a factor of what we're doing. Is we need to try and make it customer friendly, price wise. If I need to stand there and pan on my car for 2-3 weeks, it doesn't bother me. I can do it in my own time at nights of the week. But what I charge a customer, they won't want the bill.
Yeah, understand that. Okay, so you mentioned customer cars. Has it been a busy winter for you in terms of building cars for other drivers?
We've got quite a bit on. We've done quite a lot of refurb work. Our engine work is getting more and more. We're very renowned for having good equipment engine wise, and you don't see us having failures. We do the job properly. That side of things busy. Refurbs, and I'm on with a couple of new cars. Obviously, no rush now. We've been pretty busy with stuff. Refurb work's been very busy.
That's good though. That's positive, isn't it, for the health of the sport, that people are having new cars and they are wanting their current cars refurbished. It does suggest that the sport is in good health.
Definitely, I think it's worse than a drug, really. People will always find a way to go racing on a Saturday night. They'll beg, borrow and steal whatever's got to be done, and they want to race. And I think this will actually give people time to actually realise what they're missing, and then they'll be, tinkering with cars and refreshing stuff, getting some spares built because they've got nothing to do, and then everyone will be ready when the season comes back. If it comes back, however, when, everyone's going to be ready and in a good position. I think you'll see a lot of new cars.
Yeah. So that hopefully some positive to come out of this unfortunate situation with which we find ourselves. I think it's fair to say that if a driver came to you for a new car, they are going to be spending at the top end of the scale. Do you think that's the right decision and the right way the sport should be heading, or is there room for both, do you think?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's good. You can build a nice car and present something properly, which also makes the sport look more professional. For what it is, it's nowhere near as expensive as circuit racing, stuff like that. It's so much cheaper. But to be able to present a nice looking car and what I'd call a race car, more than just to. But also, people have got to be able to do what their budget suits, and you can have some good races with some bloody old cars. And that can be quite frustrating at times. You think, how the hell, I've got all this in this, and they're having a time of their life, and they're probably driven by the fact that they're racing these, race cars with something that's not worth as much, and they're having a great time. We're trying to look for more, and I think it just works. I think everything about the sport, the grading system, is just sort of really good.
Okay, brilliant. Some drivers at the minute are successfully competing with a dual surface car. Is it something you'd consider in the future, or do you think shell and tarmac cars are needed?
Again, that's one of them. That's something I'd never look at. It doesn't interest me. I'm fortunate enough to be able to have two cars, but people can make it work. But you got to have a lot of time to do it. I've done it before previously. When I first started, I was running the same car on tarmac and shell, and it's not so bad when you go from tarmac to shell, but when you go from shell back to tarmac, it wasn't till about the Grand National where you were somewhere near with your setup. So you'd almost, waste a meeting. And it's all right if you go into tarmac the following meeting, but then when you go back to shell, it's I don't think anyone's done it properly. They jump in, week out, shell tarmac, and are competitive, but you can get by.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not something you'd necessarily consider. It's not something that's for you.
Definitely not.
You also run cars for other drivers. We spoke to Roger a couple of weeks ago. You run a car for him when he races. So how did that come about? And what kind of goes on with that?
Roger, well, he's just hard work, isn't he? Anything to do, Roger's just no good. Even when the phone rings and it says Roger on my phone, I think, should I or shouldn't I answer it? But, no, we run cars with people. I mean, some people have got no time whatsoever. There's so many different people out there that got different lines of work and what they do, and what they might be paid decent money, but absolutely no time to spend it. So if they want us to run the cars and give them a good service, a reliable service where they can get there the weekend from one to another, and they know the jobs are done and they can jump in and have a great time, and then that's what we try and do. But yeah, Roger was something that come about from my dad, and they obviously chatted about it. I didn't know Roger, and we agreed to run a test with him and let him have a go, and it just sort of went on from there, and we've become quite good friends. Think a lot of him, and yeah, he's pretty decent, but can be a bit of a
High maintenance is what you're looking for, Ryan. High maintenance.
Well, in print test, I think.
We've in the advert for this interview, we've featured a couple of sneak peek pictures of your new shell car. Is there anything you've done particularly different on this car to others that you could share?
No, I mean, looks wise, again, we've gone something a bit different. It's got quite a bit more paneling. It's nothing massively spectacular. We spent a bit of different time with the chassis layout from our normal races in different places, and it's quite strong. It's definitely really good for a crash, this one. It could be quite intimidating when people see it, and that's probably not the sort of thing people are going to look forward to seeing in the rearview mirror. But yeah, it's looking different. It's smart, and a lot of time into this one. A lot of time.
So when you say about doing something different, and you said about you don't want to see your car in their mirror, was that in your thought when you were doing this then?
No, I mean, I've got a pretty good reputation, and people sort of understand how I am and how I drive, and it's sort of, if you can make your car look angry and do it does what it says on the tin. If you look at it, you understand the car and you understand that's how it's going to be driven. And some people don't understand why I make things so nice, and they're not afraid to, get involved or bend things and wreck things. But I quite like the fact of wrecking a car on a Saturday night, so it's in quite a real bad way, and then you go the following Saturday and it's better than it ever was. It looks like new.
That's a very perverse pleasure you've got there, Ryan.
Yeah, you could say I'm strange. I've been called a lot. Yeah, I like wrecking things and then making them better than they was. That's just something I've always done. And you ever see any pictures of anything I've got that's been wrecked, the next time out, it's as good as brand new. If we need cab sides and back corner plates and chassis legs, whatever we've got to do, it'll be done before its next race. We'll never botch it to get it out and have a go. We'll always do it 100%.
But I guess that kind of goes in terms of your reputation. Actually, if you do something, then we'll be back out again the following week, and I guess it helps with that.
Yeah, I mean, so again, we're very fortunate and lucky. We do everything ourselves. We've got everything in stock to build new cars, so I'm never really short of anything. So if we do get into a bit of bother in sort of any way with anybody, we know we can be sorted, done. Next meeting, we'll be there. And if it's, the only thing I'll ever run out of is hours. But if we can do it within the week and all the hours in the world, and I've got people behind me that we can get out and go again and have a bit of fun.
Brilliant. Quite often when you bring a new car out, there's a for sale sign on it. Why is that?
It's just one of them, really. I mean, everything's for sale. Literally anything, everything. If someone wants to buy it and I can earn a bit of money on it, or if somebody wants it and they're prepared to pay, and I can earn a little bit of something, and happily enough, it'll go. And I'm not shy if I've got to take 3 or 4, 5 months off racing, and someone wants to spend the money and I can earn a living. Everybody's got to put food on the table one way or another.
Yeah.
And try and give my kids and wife the best life we can. So, sort of how I've been brought up. My dad's always said everything's for sale, so I've sort of stuck with it. And that's the new shell car hasn't got for sale on it at the moment.
Maybe for its debut, that's one thing to add. I don't know. So you mentioned about all the hours that you do in the workshop, obviously with racing here in America. Any time for any other hobbies at all?
No, nothing. Just spend every sort of hour trying to get the cars ready and earn a living like most people do. And then the other spare time, downtime, is with the wife and kids. Doing a bit of walking, which I hate, but that's what we do, and gets us doing something. Then downtime really isn't an option if you work for yourself. And there's loads of people out there I know that they work 7 days a week and don't even understand how we can run a car, but we're sort of no different, really.
Okay, so you're not enjoying the walking then? No.
Worse, to be fair. We had just been on a walk just before this call now, and my legs are saying no.
Well, you never know. You might find a new hobby, like rambling in the Peak District in the near future. You never know. You might know. No,
absolutely not. I used to, when I was younger, before we started racing, I used to play table tennis a lot. Which I played for the county and all that sort of stuff when I was younger. Was quite keen on it, and it got to the point where it was table tennis or racing, and racing won hands down. So that's it. There's no other hobbies.
Okay, so in terms of your racing, do you prefer shale or tarmac?
Depends if it's raining or not. It's a wet shale meeting is just horrific. There's sometimes it gets so bad you load up and you feel like you shouldn't, after a heat or something, because people have still travelled all that way to watch you. But it's just so not enjoyable. But on a nice, I used to love Coventry. It's a shame that's gone and sort of thing, and hope he comes back. But Kings Lynn on its day, you get Kings Lynn, and a lot of people hate it when they water the track on yellow flags. That's something I love. it just forces you out near the fence, and there's nothing better than getting right out there and bouncing off the wall. And if you get a good bunch of lads sort of that you're racing with and race hard but clean, you can clatter off the wall and up the side of them, and then them up the side of you. And I've had some really good things. You come off and you're buzzing, and I've gone from first in the final to fifth, and I've enjoyed them races more than I have if I won a race. But because it's so intense, and so shout for me, really.
Yeah. Okay. We've been talking about cars as well. So thinking of cars that are currently racing, aside from your own builds, are there any that you particularly admire?
That's a tough one for me. I mean, I have a blinkers on with what I do, and I build cars for people, so it's hard to look at other cars. But I mean, there's a lot of lower graders cars that are sort of probably not appreciated as much because they haven't got the right colour wing on.
Okay.
I still look around people's cars and think, yeah, that's quite nice. That's a good idea. And there's nothing that I think, yeah, wow, that's what I need to do. Because if it's really what I need to do, I'd start copying things. But that's not how we work. We don't go like that.
Okay. You're obviously known as a hard driver. Who's the hardest driver you've raced against then?
That's probably difficult. I mean, when I started as sort of a young lad, getting in there, as silly as it sounds, as people like Jeff Nichols on show was just a nightmare to deal with. He'd be on the brakes, and you just couldn't get by him, or even. Funny, it sounds like Tim Warwick. We always have a little joke with Tim. We fitted power steering to his old car, the one with, the real old one that he used to race. We fitted power steering to him, and he used to say, now you got power steering, you'll be able to flick the right lock on and give us a bit more. And as a young driver, them sort of people they're really hard. But one I see as a hard driver, I've got a lot of respect for Stuart Smith. He was hungry for it. The last 2-3 years he was racing, he was hungry week in, week out. Massive respect for having the drive that he had to keep going. For me, we never used to go to Bellevue on a bank holiday Monday and stuff like that. It's just too far and with work and stuff. But he'd turn up there. He's local to him, but he still turned up, put on a show, and he wanted to win every race he got in. There's not many people I've seen with so much drive to win than him in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's really interesting you say that. I spoke to Andrew Smith a few weeks ago, and he was of the opinion that Stuart was just kind of ready to sort of go into orbit in terms of his career and just really build on what he'd achieved already. So it's quite interesting that you sort of saw the same as well.
Yeah, definitely. He was good to go, and I was part of the crash that he was in that sort of put his career to an end as such, which was sort of is what it is. And everyone straps in and has got the same sort of risk. That rams it home a little bit that actually these things aren't to be messed around with, and it can go wrong. Makes you think when you got young kids, but still your head tells you different.
So on the back of that, do you ever get nervous, especially in like a big race, you world final on second row or wherever? Are you nervous or?
No, I mean, I'll never get nervous. I'm the worst person in the world for beating himself up. But the funny thing is, I'll never get nervous about anything. I'll never put any pressure on myself before an event. But when it goes wrong, I'm pretty annoyed with myself if I've done something I know I've done wrong. But 9 times out of 10, that's the good thing about the way I've been racing for the last 2-3 years is I'm sort of racing for myself, a bit of fun.
So it's good, yeah. Okay, brilliant. Ryan, sort of moving on. What's the best piece of advice you've been given so far that sort of helped you in your racing career?
Don't really listen to people.
No.
my own sort of thing. If it goes wrong, it's all on me, isn't it? So, haven't really had a great deal of advice. My old man sort of said, crack on, get involved. It is what it is. And if you want to go all the way, then go all the way.
Right, so keeping it topical, if you had to choose 3 current Formula One drivers to self-isolate with, who would you choose? But you had to choose them. You had to choose them.
No, I wouldn't.
What? No one?
I wouldn't. No, no, I'm not. So, no, I don't think I could choose anyone really. Dutch or something, I couldn't understand them, then it's great.
Okay. Not even Roger. You wouldn't choose what? No.
He's the last person I'd choose.
You're going to be very lonely though, self-isolation on your own.
Yeah, I'd have a Wilson or something, coconut and whatever.
Brilliant. Okay. Best holiday destination you've been to?
Best holiday destination, probably New Zealand. That sort of trip we did there was pretty decent. Something we sort of wanted to do again, and then the wife got pregnant, and that sort of put the stop to that. And then we sort of went about this America thing. So that's the only sort of real reason. It's something I want to do again. Do the same sort of trip and get involved with the whole thing. But yeah, at the minute, definitely New Zealand trip.
Did you race out there in New Zealand? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, we bought a car. We've got friends out there and stuff, and they kept it, and we done. We went. I think we went for almost 2 months.
Okay.
On a bit of a holiday tour, whatever.
Yeah.
We did the teams. Done some of the other big events and had a ball.
So was the race in New Zealand a lot harder than in England in terms of the hits and the crashing? Did you find it much different?
I wouldn't say it's much harder. It's just a bit of a different style of racing. The thing for me as an English driver, and probably all the other lads that have been, when you come to a big title, you can have 2 races is great. The third race, you might as well put it on the trailer, because they're going to put it on the trailer for you. Yeah, we had some rough experiences. We got involved in a few things that happened. We had a bit of a ding dong with Peter Rees, and we put him over up on his roof, which didn't go down too well, and had somebody else at Auckland tried to get a bit smart, and we put him on his roof, and yeah, it was a lively trip. But the teams thing for me is one thing I'll never forget. Is any track you race at, you can come out and you can be a hero and spin your wheels and all that sort of thing that a lot of people do, and you're a bit excited. But Palmerston North teams is the only place where I've heard the crowd over the engine.
Oh, okay.
They're cheering, they're going mad, and the whole place is ready for it. And yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you, we're here to put on a show for a lot of people. Not people. We're talking 18,000, I think it is, or something silly. Okay. And they're behind it. Yeah, they're behind the English because obviously they travelled a long way as well. So, but yeah, that was something we need to look into doing again sometime.
Does that spur you on? When you win a race in England and you go around on the victory lap, do you enjoy that kind of like waving to the crowd and sort of celebrating? Is that something you enjoy?
I enjoy taking my kids around when they can come certain tracks, and things. Obviously, things are getting tougher with stuff like that for year, whatever. But 9 times out of 10, I get booed. Which I probably enjoy the boos and everything else more than I would if people were standing there clapping and cheering. It makes me want to get back in the car and go out and win the final or something, if you just won the heat. So, and then you can give them another little, cheeky kiss or wave or whatever. to be done. We can deal with it.
But I suppose you're getting a reaction, aren't you? And that's important. That's in whatever way, whether it's cheering or booing, you're getting a reaction.
Always.
Brilliant. Do you have a celebrity crush, Ryan?
Don't even know what a celebrity is, really. I don't know.
Right, this is easy. You can answer this one.
I don't do nothing like that.
Okay. You don't watch television?
Seriously, Emmerdale Emmerdale and Coronation Street. I'm pretty boring. That's about the only thing I religiously watch, and even that's boring.
So your dad's leading, going to the last bend. You're running second. Are you taking him in the wall for the victory?
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go up to the burger van and the bar, whatever, and get the food and the drinks for the way home. He's going in.
No question. No question.
Everything. And that £500 is going in my pocket and not his.
If I asked you to name the top 3 Formula 1 drivers of all time, who would you put on your list of all time?
It's a tough one for me. I mean, there's no one better than King John. That's obviously John Lennon's like just a legend, isn't he? Everybody knows of him. Everyone talks of him. Obviously, you got Stuart Smith, senior, whatever. He's the boys, and that's really the only 2 that are sort of classed as the thing. So you're only getting 2.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm going to ask you another question then. So if you're coming up behind John Lund, are you putting him in the wall?
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, unless he wanted to pass me £500 out the window, and let me.
Okay.
When we get to the last 2 laps in the final, it's like this is like 200 and something or 500. They're having it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And my final question for you. What do you think the future holds for Ryan Harrison, the Formula 1 stock car driver?
Who knows? As long as I keep enjoying what we're doing and I'm fully backed with, sponsors and friends and family, wife and kids and everything, enjoy it. I mean, I've got a little Ninja kart, which we've rode around an industrial estate car park, and I've had it 6 months. So, I mean, if I get her into something and I get behind her, I could be out of it quite quickly.
Yeah.
But at the minute, I've just got to the point where I'm going to push again and put a lot more effort into what we're doing. So, yeah, who really knows? As soon as we get over this thing that's going on, and we can get that in and stuff, then we only want to do the best we can and as often as we can.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Ryan, for your time. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
No, just thanks to my sponsors. They're the ones that financially help us out and keep us going. We could afford to do some racing, but when the sponsors put in a bit of this and that and the other and get behind me and put money in, we can do more. Which we enjoy, especially the people in America. That's something I really appreciate, is when people get behind me with that side of things. I'm just living the dream. I'm sure there's a lot of people wish they could be where I am with the equipment I've got and stuff, and just thanks to everyone and the supporters and the ones that boo me louder.
Ryan, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's been brilliant to talk to you. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you on track with a haircut soon.
Hang on. So what year do you think you'll be taking over your dad's role?
Me? No, I couldn't do it. No. I spend all my time at work telling people what to do. I can't do it at a stock car track as well.
You should
Why?
be.
Do you want... Eh?
You should be good at it then.
Yeah, I should be. But my dad's good at it. You like my dad? I don't know, maybe.
Hey, I've been told off more by him than I have a head teacher at school. Yeah,
But he used to be a head teacher, though. That's why, maybe.
you've got to get that place filled when he retires. It's your job.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll give it a go on your recommendation.
Do it. Get up there, sit next to him, and learn from the best.
Oh, that's very kind. Ryan, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Right.